Here's a story that's just after coming into us in the last while, and I'd like to get your opinions on this. Darren, you witnessed something absolutely horrific tonight. Tell me what happened.
Yeah, well, we went to the cinema to watch 21 Jump Street, brought the two boys with me, and there was a load of traveller ladies came in. There was about 20 odd of them.
Right.
But they came in full of drink and with loads of drink.
Well, they brought drink with them into the cinema.
Yeah, they had everything with them. They had Blue Wicked, they had Budweiser, they had everything. And you could hear the bottles clanking coming up the stairs in their bag of sweets.
Right.
So they walk on up, they start drinking. I mean, you couldn't hear none of the trailers with them talking and yapping, but when the film started, they kind of quieted down a little bit. Until one of them actually got sick on the back of some poor girl's, the back of her neck.
Oh, no.
Now, I mean, it was like a waterfall with the sound of her getting sick. And I mean, the smell was atrocious.
And she threw up on top of the woman sitting in front of her.
Yeah, some poor girl. Now, the girl jumped with a fright, and actually she ran down. Actually, I think she left. I don't think she came back. There was one or two other. The traveller girl then went up, and she then left. But she came back in, and when she came back in, I mean, she sat down in the same seat, picked up a bottle of beer, and kept drinking and eating her popcorn. It was disgraceful. But the other girls then started shifting around and standing up, and there was loads of shouting and stuff going on, and you couldn't watch the cinema and the film. And then all of a sudden there was, we thought it was smoke, and we looked up. You know, where the projector comes out to shine onto the screen. We looked up and we thought it was smoke. It wasn't. It was like flour or some sort of powder, we thought. And then they just kept putting their hands into plastic bags and kept throwing flour. And I mean, all over the cinema. Walking down, they were throwing on the floor, they were throwing it in the air.
They had a bag of flour and they started flinging it...
There was more than one bag of flour. One or two of the girls had different plastic bags, just a plain plastic shopping bag. And just kept putting their hands in it and just, I don't know where it came out, but the flour just, there was loads of people in the cinema now. I'm sure once it goes on air, you'll get loads of people ringing in. But he kept throwing the flour, and then when we went out to the foyer, the flour was just thrown all over the carpets. And then they were actually, some of them left the cinema, came back in, went towards the toilets, again throwing flour. I felt sorry for the staff, because the staff went in 2 or 3 times during the film and tried to get them to calm down, and they couldn't. Now, the staff is fairly young. I was talking to one of the girls afterwards, and she was saying to me that, I said, have you no security? And she said, no, there's no security actually in the cinema. But she did say, this has happened before, and that the guards have wiped their hands of it, that they won't even go up anymore now when they call them with that kind of
Okay,
stuff.
now, they're in the cinema, they're acting the maggot in the cinema, they're drinking, they're being rowdy, they start, one of them gets sick over...
She got sick everywhere, Adrian. She got sick everywhere.
Right.
And I tell you, a few people moved, like 3 rows in front, 3 rows behind. They all start moving because the smell. I just put my jumper over my head. The two boys were over the far side of the cinema because they couldn't really smell it, but me and my mom could smell it, and I have a weak stomach. I was nearly getting sick myself, and it was that near to the end of the film that we just said we'd hang on and just try watch the end of the film. But it ruined the film, and I'd say everyone else in the cinema was the same. But we don't have to carry on with the flour.
Now, what would you describe it? Did you describe it to Jeremy as a mini riot?
No, but I tell you what, Adrian, if I went in and done that with 15 or 20 of my mates, that's exactly what you'd call it. And the same if normal girls in there and they done it, we'd probably call it a mini riot, and the police would be called, the police would turn up. But because these done it, I mean, I've been told by the girls up there, it's happened regular. Now, not the flour, but the bringing in the drink and getting sick and the whole lot. And
can I ask, okay, how do you know for certain that they were traveller women?
Well, half of the names, there's not many Winnies and Bridgets going around. It was their accent when they were coming up and talking.
Okay, and then what age were they?
Now, this is the thing, they weren't young. Yes, these were late 20s, early 30s, some of these. There would have been, say, 2 or 3 younger girls, but the rest of them were late 20s, early 30s, which I thought was really weird. I just thought it was a disgrace.
And
ruined the film for me.
Yeah, and ruined the film, obviously. In fact, Mark, you're on FM104. How are you, Mark?
Hello, how are you?
Now, Mark, you were actually with the girl who got sick on.
Yeah.
In the cinema.
We were sitting right in front of them.
Right.
I don't think the sick actually got onto her, but we had to move seat anyway, and we were very close to leaving, only for, as your man said there, was right close to the end, so we said we'd stay. We moved to the front row.
And obviously you believe as well that their behaviour was disgraceful, do you?
unbelievable. It was absolutely shocking. And they were older women as well. They weren't young ones either. It was an absolute...
Right, they weren't 15, 16-year-olds. They were more mature.
You'd expect that. What they do, and you wouldn't even get from a 15 or 16-year-old. But we thought, they must be a lot younger than they were. But when we seen them afterwards, we were shocked to see the age group it was.
And was it? You see, I'm trying to get a handle of this. Was their behaviour intimidating? Was it annoying? What was it?
They were intimidated, some of them.
We caught on very quickly. They were traveller women. We actually, when they were already sitting there when we came in, and we sat down as the man showed us where to sit, and we sat down and we were in front of them, and we could hear them all with their drink behind us. And as your man said, they were talking a lot during the trailers. And I said, Jesus, I think we should just leave and get our money back. I said, because then I don't think they're going to shut up, like. And she said,
and lo and behold, you were right.
Yeah, no, well, funny enough, she said to me, don't be so stereotypical, just because I said that because they were travellers. So I ended up...
Okay, so that was your initial reaction, yeah. And in fact, this is exactly what I want to focus on for a second. Is
what I said to my girlfriend Kira on the way home. I said they're exactly the type of travellers that give the good travellers a bad name, and that it was just a disgrace. It was. They had no respect for anyone else in the cinema. So why should people have respect for them?
And let me ask you, Darren, would that incident, and I'll ask you in a sec, Mark, as well, would that incident, what you witnessed tonight with these travellers in a cinema in Dublin, and we're deliberately not naming the cinema, but it's we know exactly where it is, would that change your attitude towards travellers, what you witnessed tonight?
Yeah, well, I tell you, it was just, they just ruined the whole night for me, my partner and the kids. I mean, it was just, you're paying good money to go in there. I mean, they should have...
Were the kids scared?
No, the kids weren't scared. The kids thought it was actually funny. But they should have to abide by the same rules as us. And they can throw in that card, we're getting victimised because we're travellers, we're getting this for travellers. We couldn't throw that card in. We start vandalising the place. And that's what they were doing. They were vandalising the place. And yet they get away with it because they can always throw that card. They're only picking on us because we're travellers. We're not picking on you because you're travellers. You wrecked the cinema. You vandalised the cinema. You ruined their night. That's where you're being, targeted. And for the age of them, it was disgraceful. Disgraceful. But my opinion of travellers, the way they always go, there's some good, there's some bad. There's some good and bad in everyone. But these are probably the women that would be standing up. Boys always pick on the travellers, always pick on the travellers. And this time we've right to pick on them because they ruined that man's night with his girlfriend. They ruined my night. I mean, my stomach is still turning. And we're paying good money to go.
But I tell you what's even more worrying in terms of the cinema is that there was nobody in a position to go and reef them out of the cinema, take them out of the place.
They didn't even stop them drinking. They were drinking. You could hear the clack of the bottles all night, and they were throwing the bottles on the ground when they were finished. Like I say, the cinema's in a state, and if God love the person wants to clean up after them.
And Mark, let me ask you, is your girlfriend there with you?
Yeah, she's here beside me. I'll put her on to you.
All right, go on, yeah.
Hiya.
How are you? What's your name, love?
Kira.
How are you? How did you feel about the whole thing from a woman's point of view?
Well, at the start when they were talking, I was like, oh, Jesus, we're not going to be able to hear the film. But then they did quiet down, so I was like, yeah, right, that's grand. And I knew they were drinking because you could hear the bottles, but I didn't really mind that because, it wasn't, bothering me. But when your one got sick, I was convinced, because she was sitting right behind me, I was convinced it was, in the hood or something like that.
Unfortunately, it wasn't.
Oh, no, thank God.
And then later on in the movie, was their what I'm trying to get out of this is was their behaviour bad enough that they should have been thrown out? They should have been dragged out of the place?
Yeah. Well, it was...
Because because as soon as that happened, we moved up the front because the smell was just horrible. And the rest of the film, that's all I could smell was just sick. But literally 5 minutes later, we turned around and there was flour. They were throwing flour everywhere. And actually, the couple that was sitting beside us, were covered in flour. So if we hadn't moved, we would have got it too.
I just don't get this whole flour thing. They had a bag of flour and they were were they throwing it over people or were they just flinging it around the cinema?
Just throwing it everywhere.
Yeah, and when they got outside as well, they were throwing it all over each other. But it was getting anyone who was in the area.
Do you know what I think, Adrian? There was a couple of the girls, and I seen one with pink wings on it. Might have been her, I don't know. It might have been her hen's night, and maybe it's a traveller tradition to throw flour over the hen. I don't know, but
maybe somebody can enlighten us about that. But regardless of what tradition it is, the cinema isn't the place to be doing it.
No, and as as I said, if that was us, if we done it, we'd be done for vandalising. You know, we'd be done for going in and wrecking the cinema. We'd be thrown out like a light. But because it's them, the crew that was working tonight just stood off them. You know, maybe they're a bit nervous to go in, and the crew up there is fairly young, so you know they were probably intimidated by them and couldn't make them leave. But to try to get 25 women out would be some feat. You know what I mean?
Well, it certainly would, even if you had a heavy-duty security company there.
Exactly.
But anyway, the bottom line... sorry.
Your man did actually come up at the start when they were talking and told them that they have to like stay in their seats and be quiet or else they would be kicked out.
Oh, they kept standing up. Yeah, there was someone singing in the movie at the start. Will the real Slim Shady please stand up? And they all kept standing up and sitting down, stand up and sitting down. But they were blocking everybody's view by doing it. And they were playing a joke and they were enjoying it because they were drunk.
All right, stay there for 1 second. So, Mark, or Darren, sorry, this has changed your attitude towards travellers, or at least you're at least saying that they give travellers such a bad name by behaving like this.
Yeah, well, they don't. Do you know what? There's no smoke without fire. That's my thing now with them. If I saw a lot of traveller women going into a cinema now again, or even blokes, and I've seen it up there before myself, I'd just walk out. I couldn't be arsed with that now. To be honest with you, I wouldn't be wasting my money. Because I don't know why they have to bring attention to themselves. Look at us, look who we are, look what we're doing. And that's the way that's the fear we got tonight. You know, we can do what we like. You know, fuck the rest of you.
So these women in this cinema tonight, traveller women, drinking, making a nuisance of themselves, throwing flour all over the cinema, unfortunately, add to that poor stereotype that the travelling community has.
They keep on saying poor stereotype, but they are what they are. And it's about time people just turn around and say, look, this is what they do. The majority, not the minority, the majority of them do this. And they're not tired with this push for nothing. Because most of them do it. That's the way I'm feeling about it now. Because they're getting away with more. I'm a poor traveller, I only do this and I only do that. You're doing your arse. Right? You do this, you went out and you vandalised the place tonight. And you should be punished for it. Because if we done it, Adrian, the guards would be called for us, and I'd be taken out and I'd be locked up.
And you feel that they got away with this behaviour because they were travellers, because nobody was prepared to take them on. Yeah. Nobody, the guards weren't prepared to even deal with it, from what you're telling me.
The girl says that the guards won't go up anymore. They said if it's still with them, they're not bothering. They just won't do it because it's pointless to them. It's pointless to them. And I thought that was disgraceful, because if they rang the guards and said, there's fellas up here, they're drinking, they're smashing up the place, they're throwing stuff all around the place, we'd be taken off and we'd be held in a cell.
Okay, but in terms of the cinema actually confronting them, you said somebody did.
At the start, yeah, he went up and he asked them to be quiet and not to be standing up. But I mean, the woman just kept answering him back, and he just said, "Will you just please be quiet?" And she was still talking to him as he was walking away. You know,
okay, stay there for 1 second, Darren, because I have one of the, I believe, one of the women who was in the cinema, and that's you, Sarah. How are you?
Not too bad.
Now, Sarah, you were in that cinema tonight.
I was indeed, yeah.
And what, you were out celebrating your birthday, were you?
It was my birthday indeed.
Now, so what happened? Why were you behaving like lunatics in the cinema?
Well, we weren't acting like lunatics. We were just having a good all night, and some people stopped up like that fella there.
So tell me, what do you think of what this guy is complaining about? You're saying you were behaving really well, are you?
Oh, well, at the start of the film, we all had a good night, and it was only the last 2 minutes of it that the flowers threw all over me.
Now, what about getting sick in the cinema?
Oh, no, that's lies. It was your fella's girlfriend that got sick.
Sorry? Sarah?
Hello?
Sorry, are you going to deal with this? Are you going to act immature with me as well?
No, Jesus, no.
Well, then, enough of the giggling and laughing then. Who got sick? One of your friends got sick?
Yeah, one of my friends got sick, yeah.
Now, what were you doing drinking in the cinema?
No, we wasn't drinking.
Oh, you weren't drinking?
No, we had a few drinks before we went into the cinema.
Darren?
She's lying, Adrian, and you can ask anyone that was in the cinema. She's telling lies. She was drinking like animals in the cinema there. They were drinking like fish.
No, there was only 7 of us, there wasn't 20.
There was more. You took up about 5 rows. You're telling lies.
No,
lying. You're telling lies.
The one that's lying. I should know, because I was in that cinema. It was me that happened to me.
Yeah, well, it happened to all of us because you were in there drinking and you was around there night.
No, we were not drinking. I can prove we wasn't
drinking. Will you stop it with that? Don't go on and start lying. If you're going to go on...
I wasn't drinking. My friends was, but I wasn't.
Oh, so now nobody was drinking, now all of a sudden your friends were drinking. Make your mind up. Make your mind up. Were you drinking or were you not drinking?
Yeah, we were drinking, yeah.
And were you drinking in the cinema?
Yeah, we were drinking in the cinema, yeah.
Right, what were you doing drinking in the cinema?
Celebrating my birthday.
Right, is drinking in the cinema the right thing to do? Should you not have gone to a pub?
No, so we had a few in the pub and we got a few bottles and we brought it to the cinema.
Okay, you see what I'm hearing here, Sarah, is that the behaviour of you and your friends was something you might expect from 15-year-olds, not women of your age. What age birthday is it?
29.
You're 29.
Yeah.
Well, what I'm hearing from Darren is that you're just your behaviour was like you were behaving like teenagers, and you ruined the film for people.
There's nobody allowed to celebrate our birthdays. There was no flower in the cinema. I can actually say there was no flower in the cinema. It
Sorry.
was happening outside.
That's a lie. Jesus Christ, that's such a lie. No flower in the cinema. You think you were baking a cake? There was flour everywhere. It was all. And
Okay, Sarah, what was the story with the flower then?
Because with our tradition and a birthday, you have to sling flour over somebody for good luck.
Right, but is the cinema the place to be doing that as well?
No, it was actually outside the cinema.
If she done that in the cinema, she win the lotto because she threw flour over everybody. So I tell you, she's going to have loads of good luck.
I didn't know the flour was brought in.
Go do the lotto because you'll win it. You threw that much flour over for luck.
Are you serious?
Way, the cinema was ruined with flour. Do the lotto.
We went to watch our cinema the same thing as you did.
We didn't do anything. We sat there and watched the movie. That's all we wanted to do.
Yeah, and we went to watch the movie. We had a laugh to it.
Well, come here and tell you. 1 minute ago, you weren't drinking. Then your friends were drinking. Then you were drinking. Then there was no.
I didn't say I was drinking. I said my friends was drinking. I wasn't drinking.
Then you said there was no flour.
No, my friends was.
Loads of flour. Then there was only flour.
I wasn't.
Make your mind up. Get your story.
The flour was true outside our cinema, not in the cinema.
It was true all over the cinema. You fool.
Well, sorry, Ciara, are you still there?
Yeah.
You know, sorry, Ciara, was there flour thrown around the cinema itself?
There definitely was, because the couple who were sitting beside us we walked out beside them. They were covered in flour, and actually when we were walking out to go into the car, we had to move away from them because we would have got hit with the flour as well.
So there's two people, Sarah, saying that the flour was being thrown around in the cinema.
No, not in the cinema. It was outside the cinema.
No, it wasn't. How can you say it was outside the cinema? You also said that I was the one who got sick. One of your friends nearly got sick on me.
No, one of
my friends got sick on you.
Really got sick on me.
That's a lie. She's lying through her teeth, Adrian.
What?
Lying through her teeth about what?
About my friend getting sick beside her. First she moved down the front row and how would she be up in the back? Because we were all sitting in the back.
Your friend was sitting behind me and she got sick. So she didn't get me, so that's why me and my boyfriend moved down the front. Because the smell of it.
And did you with the cheek beside
So my friend got sick on you at the back and then you moved down the front. You just said she got sick at the front of the cinema.
No, she didn't.
I said I moved down.
Come on, will you make up your mind for God's sake,
Anyway, here, Sarah, the bottom line is that ye traveller women in the cinema tonight were behaving like teenagers. You were behaving disgracefully, from what I'm hearing from people.
No, we wasn't
Like teenagers, Adrian.
We went out to have a bit of fun. There was only 7 guys, not 20.
Yeah,
so I don't know where the other 18 or 7 or 16 came in.
More than 7 girls, and why should you be able to go, get sick in the cinema, throw flour everywhere, and ruin everybody else's night?
Well, if you didn't want to happy with us, why didn't you go to a different picture, a different film?
She had already paid into the one that they were in.
We would have gone and start telling lies. We would have come up with flowers being thrown in cinemas, and if it wasn't true. As I said, we thought the flower was smoke. And that's what we had to look for first. We thought it was smoke. With the projector screen, with the light going down, it looked like smoke. And we got a bit of a panic for a second. Then I realised then, I could see it all on the floor. It was some sort of powder. We just thought it was flour.
And in terms of their behaviour during the film, you say it ruined the film for you.
The last 20 minutes, not even 20 minutes, I'd say the last 15 minutes of the film, you could barely hear it. You're straining your ears to try to hear it because the more drink they were getting into them, the louder the conversations were getting. And they may have thought they were whispering to each other, but they weren't whispering at all. You know?
And totally, well, I can hear she, I mean, that girl, what was her name, Sarah?
She's contradicting herself every time she's telling you something, because she said they had no drink, then her friends had drink, then she had drink, there was no flour, then there was flour, then they were throwing flour. So she had to tell you 6 different stories and 6 different statements.
Okay, but stay there for 1 second. John, you were at this movie as well tonight.
I was at this movie, yes.
And you're saying that it's not as Darren is painting it?
It's actually not half as bad as making it. I was there, There was a bit of messing, but actually it wasn't too bad. Like, you're still able to watch the film in peace if you want to. It's like what girls have the night out. You weren't as bad as everyone else was putting them.
Do you know what, Adrian? That sounds like one of their fellas. She had to asking him to ring up and say something on the phone, because it was bad.
It wasn't that
That's
bad.
a setup caller. That's a setup caller. They're telling you now, they're at the ring of one of their fellas and saying, get on the phone there and back goes up. That's what that sounds like to me.
What's one of their fellas?
One of the girls that was there. You're one of their fellas. Guaranteed.
No, I wasn't with them girls.
I don't believe you.
And whereabouts in the cinema were you sitting?
I was sitting in the back row.
You were sitting in the back row?
Up in the corner, yes.
And they didn't upset the movie for you at all?
Well, I'm a young fella. I'm only 19 myself. I see loads of messing happening in cinemas. But you are bad. You are messing, but you weren't they weren't even half as bad as John. The other fella's putting them down.
Can I ask, John, are you a traveller yourself?
Not half.
Pardon me?
Half.
You're half a traveller?
Well, my mother is, but my father's not.
All right, your mother's a traveller. Right, okay. Some would say, well, then that's probably why you're defending them.
No, I wouldn't defend them on the half, because I've no need to defend them because I don't know them.
You've no idea, you don't know who these people are?
I know just 5 or 6 travelling women, and I don't even know where they're from or what their names. I was in the back of the cinema with my missus.
And you're saying that what you witnessed wasn't bad behaviour at all?
Well, it wasn't good behaviour, but my point I'm trying to make is it's not half as bad as the other person's making it out to be like.
Ciara, are you still there?
Yeah.
Well, Ciara, what do you say to that? It wasn't half as bad.
That's, for the majority of the film, no, they weren't doing anything. But the last 20 minutes, we didn't even get to see the end because your one nearly got sick on me, which I would class as my night being ruined. We had to move, they were still making noise, and then throwing flour around the place, distracting everyone. Yeah, I would class as my night being ruined, and yeah, I would say that's disgraceful.
All right, John, you're on FM104. How are you, John?
How are you?
Grand, thanks, John. Now, what did you want to say on this?
Well, Adrian, I want to listen to both sides there, and to be honest with you, I believe in what the guys were saying there, they were in the cinema there, and blah, blah, blah. At the same time, I don't believe what your man said there. Like, you shouldn't tar all travellers with the same brush there, to be honest with you, because they're not all the same coin, Adrian, and you know what I mean? Like, there was probably a minority of travellers there that probably caused a bit of trouble, blah, 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 but at the end of the day, when was the last time that you heard a few travellers causing a bit of trouble in the cinema, like, you know what I mean? So I think he's wrong in saying that, Adrian. You know what I mean? I know an awful lot of travellers myself, and they're good people, and they abide by the law, and, they're not bad people at all. And he said there, you take a different look at travellers after what he's seen tonight, which I think is wrong.
Okay, so you think that it's wrong to be just highlighting that this was a group of travellers, is that what you're saying?
Basically, yeah, I am, yeah. Basically, because there is good travellers out there.
No, nobody's saying there isn't. Darren, I'm sure that's not the reason you rang in the first place.
No, it's not at all. Not at all.
I'm not saying that, but Darren, you said to me that you take a different outlook at travellers because of this.
This way, if I saw a gang of women coming into a film now again, and a gang of traveller women coming into a film, I'd say to my mum, where they were here. Because I'm telling you now, hold on, I asked the girl in the cinema, and she says it's not the first time, it's a load of times. They're up there every Monday or Tuesday, hold on, and they ring the guards, and the guards are fed up being called for it, and then they refuse to come up. So they're not refusing to come up because they're good people. They're refusing to come up because they're a pain in their arse with them.
Can I say this here, Darren? There's not, all travellers are not the same, Darren. That's what I'm trying to make out.
I never said they were, but I'm saying this group is not the first time to do it.
All I'm saying to you is, even this group is what you're saying there, you know what I mean? Look, you did say there in...
25 of them, Jesus Christ, it's 25.
Hold on for a minute, Darren. Hold on for a minute, mate. You said there earlier on, I was listening to you, you said, I'd never look at travellers again in the same way you said.
Well, I'm in the cinema with a traveller again. No, I wouldn't.
As far as I'm concerned, I've sat in cinemas with travellers, and I never had a problem with them, Darren.
Well, you wouldn't believe, John, the amount of people who have texted in to say, if I walked into a cinema and there was a group of travellers there, I'd walk back out again. And Darren, what you're saying is, if it were to happen again, you'd walk straight back out again.
Be gone, I wouldn't waste my time, I wouldn't take the chance. I wouldn't take the chance of ruining me night.
Yes, go on, John, yeah.
So what do we do, Adrian? Do we
Bar them. Fuck them out, bar them. I'd bar them. If I was the girls on that, I'd think...
Hold on for a minute, Darden. Hold on for a minute, Darden.
If me doing it, I'd be barred and I wouldn't be let back in.
That's discrimination, Darden, as far as I'm concerned.
It's discrimination against me then. Hold on a minute, because if I done that, I'd be barred. If I start drinking it and running amok in the cinema and throwing flour out of the place, you know what they say? Don't let him back in.
I'm not going to lie to you, Darden. I'm not going to lie to you, Adrian, as well. I drank in cinemas as well. Like I did.
Yeah, well, just drinking. Hold on. If you drink and you stay to yourself, that's fine. But if you drink and you interrupt everyone else's night out, then that's a problem. And if that was me doing it, I'd be barred. Like a normal person.
You can't tar them all with the same brush, Darden. Either.
Anyone that was throwing flour around the cinema and anyone that was running amok in the cinema.
What I'm trying to say, Darden, you're highly fueled there, and I can hear by your voice you're highly fueled. But you cannot. But
hang on, his evening at the cinema was ruined.
I can understand, Adrian. I get that.
To go to cinema, Adrian. There was me, my mum, and the two kids. Do you know what I mean? It's not a cheap night out.
No, it certainly isn't.
Or Darden or Adrian. I get this. I'm hearing. I'm actually saying this. I believe your evening was ruined, but it's not every traveller that does that. And
no, nobody is saying it. Nobody said it is every traveller that does that. But
in fairness, Adrian. In fairness, he should have gotten, and everybody else. If that was the point.
The point here is, John, if Darren had rang us in about 20 settled girls carrying on like this in the cinema, we'd have talked about it as well. So it's not because it's necessarily travellers, it just so happens that it was.
I'm not saying that, Adrian. I'm not saying that. What I'm trying to say to you,
if they act a maggot in the cinema and they do all that, they should be barred like a normal person. Because if I done it, I'd be barred. So I just turn around and say, "Girls, you're barred. Not because you're a traveller, because you're out there vandalising the cinema. So you don't come back, and that be it."
No, Darden, there's no problem with that at all. There's no. And can I ask you this, Darden?
Yeah.
Did you ask for a refund on the way out?
No, I didn't ask for a refund.
Actually, you didn't. Yeah, but there you go. You know what I mean?
There you go. What?
There's one problem that you didn't ask for a refund, because I would have, to be honest with you. Because if my film had been around that bad, I would have asked for a refund. And at the second time...
But it's not that it's... hang on, the point he's trying to make is that the way in which they behaved was just... socially unacceptable. That's basically what it was.
What's going on here that it's every traveller...
He didn't say that.
He didn't say that, no.
He didn't say that.
Like, he's saying, oh, Jesus, like, you know what I mean? Like there is decent travellers out there. And,
there isn't decent travellers out there. I'm not on about other travellers. I'm on about this group. This group should be punished like if I was doing it. If I vandalised something, I'd be barred and I wouldn't be let back in. But they'd be let back in next week. The girls said they're in every week. They're in every week. So they don't get barred. So they have a free run up there to do what they like. And they get away with it. I couldn't do that because the guards would be called for me, or they turn around and say, you know what, he's barred, don't sell him a ticket. Now, if that was me and they vandalised my cinema, I'd say, excuse me, you're not barred because you're a traveller, you're barred because you vandalised this cinema. Good luck, don't come back.
Pardon, I take your point, and I do. I believe your point, and I believe you and what happened tonight. I really do. But at the same time, what happened was, like, it was a once-off, I'd say. It really was, because I never heard this before.
Just with regard to that girl Sarah that we were talking to, the traveller girl who was at the cinema, I'd like to... Sarah, we've been trying to get you back on again, but we can't get through to you, so maybe you can give us a call back on 6797104.
How you doing?
Somebody else texted in to say... names the cinema and says that they were in KFC nearby drinking and were thrown out of KFC. Now, I don't know if this is before or after the movie, but they were thrown out of KFC nearby.
Adrian.
Yes. Sorry, John. Mark wants to say something to you. Go on, Mark.
Hey, John. I was on there earlier on. It was my girlfriend that the girl got sick on.
Okay.
All I can say to you is the reason why nobody asked for a refund on the way out is because there was that many traveller women walking out, which anybody would have been afraid to approach somebody and ask for a refund.
In what sense, Mark?
In what sense? Would you go up and ask someone for a refund when there's about 20 traveller women around? Because
if it was me, I would, yeah.
Well, it wouldn't bother me as for a refund, but I just wanted to get out of there. That's it.
I'd have no road smart, to be honest with you.
We as we walked out, we had to avoid flour getting thrown at us again. So we just get out of the cinema and said we'll ring tomorrow. What I can say about the in the cinema behaviour and about the travellers, when we sat down, I had a very stereotypical view, and I said to my girlfriend, I said, they're all travellers behind us. I said, do you think we should get up and move, see, or leave? And she said, oh no, don't be saying that. That's very stereotypical. Now she walked out of the cinema going to me, I should have listened to you. So there's why that opinion is going around about these people.
Well, some people at the end of the day, you know, like travellers are not all that bad.
No, but I'm not saying the air. I'm saying this is why that stereotypical view is there, because of the likes of this.
Oh no, you know what? That's what I said there a minute ago. Like, what? A few girls went in and started throwing. Like, I don't know whether to throw the true flour inside or outside the cinema, stick inside the cinema or outside the cinema. But all I know is that it's you know, there was only a group of girls there. Like, there's thousands of travellers all over Ireland.
No, like, there wasn't thousands. The other thousand wasn't in the cinema. We're just going on our opinion on what we've seen tonight. And what I could say,
understand that, but there's thousands.
It was the complete lack of respect to everybody else who had paid into the cinema that day. They didn't give a shit about anyone else in that cinema.
And that's the bottom line. And listening to Sarah earlier on, she didn't seem like she gave a damn. I have to be honest with you. And Sarah, I would love to talk to you again if you're still listening. Give me a call, 6797104. But I mean, John, one of the things she said was, well, why don't you just go to a different cinema?
Unbelievable.
Adrian, that's understandable, right? And I heard that as well. So, you know, I feel it for them guys too. I do. There's no doubt about that. I can feel it for them.
You see, John, if you'd been in that cinema, you probably would view this very differently. Let me go to Nicole. You're on FM104. How are you, Nicole?
Hi.
Now, Nicole, what did you want to say on this?
Last year I was in town with my boyfriend and we decided we were going to go to pictures, and we went to see a film and we were there, and the pictures were like real packed, and then a couple was sitting right beside me and they were real loud, and I was like to the boyfriend, I was like, can we move? And he was like, no, it's grand, relax. And then they were there and they were drinking vodka, and then they just lit up a joint in the middle of the pictures.
Just didn't give a damn.
No, and I was...
Now, having said that, I've been in cinemas as well, Nicole, where settled people are carrying on disgracefully as well. Let's be honest. I mean, I've been in situations where I've left cinemas because of a group of teenagers just carrying on like just little brats, and you just can't enjoy a film when they're carrying on like that.
Oh no, I know. Like, I don't, like, I'm not saying, oh, just because they're travellers they're like that. Like, but anybody, like, they could be like that. It was just like, it's illegal to even like do drugs, let alone do it in a picture. You know. Like, just like,
no, I agree with you. I'm not defending it at all. But what I'm saying is, and the point that I made a while ago is, we would have had this conversation whether that was a group of travellers or not. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I know.
If we'd had a complaint from one of our listeners about behaviour in the cinema, but Darren, listening to what you were saying, have you ever seen settled people behave like that in the cinema?
Not to that extent, because you don't normally come in that many groups. I mean, it was a big group of people. But why does people always say, I wasn't ringing up because they were travellers? I was ringing
No,
up
I understand that, yeah.
to the floor and all that. And I'm just saying, if that was us, we'd be punished differently. Now, if they want the same rights and all as we have and the whole lot, then the law should be the same for them. If we get punished for vandalising something, then so should they. That's all I was saying.
And you think that they were allowed to walk out of that cinema scot-free with no repercussions at all?
They walked out and then they walked back in, and then they threw flour all over the foyer. And I tell you, the only people they were probably intimidating to was not myself and me mop, but they were intimidating to the staff, because the staff didn't know what to do. I mean, the staff aren't trained into how to get 25 people out the door.
No.
You know, they're trained in what they do in the cinema. And as I said, God love the people that have to clean all that up now tomorrow, because there's no even describing the smell. It's not a nice sight for some woman that had to go in now tomorrow as a cleaner and actually clean her up, or them people that was working in the cinema tonight. And them girls that was in there, they couldn't care less. They were out for a night and they just done what they wanted, and they know they can do what they want because they can always throw the traveller card. And that's all they're ringing. If they want to be doing what we're doing, and they all say, oh, we're not equal, we want to be equal, but then be punished equal like the rest of us. Because if I done that with a gang of lads, you can be guaranteed I wouldn't be allowed to step foot inside that cinema again.
Well, stay there for 1 second because David, you saw them carrying on in KFC afterwards, or was it before?
No, this was actually before. I was in there by the other half getting food, and there was about 20 of them in the corner, and about 10 more came in roaring and shouting. And they were basically sitting there drinking alcohol. The manager came out and he basically said to them, listen, you have to leave because you aren't buying any food. But they all had open containers, bottles of Smirnoff Ice and everything. They were just asked to leave because the place was actually busy. They were taking up all the tables.
Right. And all they were doing, they didn't buy any food. They just walked in and started drinking their drink.
And shouting and screaming like if that was a party. They were at a party.
Well, no, they said they were at a party. Well, that girl Sarah said they were at a party.
Well, the manager came out because they were standing at the counter with the other half, and they basically said, listen, you have to either buy food or get out, and they were all drinking alcohol. And they basically walked across the car park towards the cinema, and that was the last. I kind of drove around and had seen them in the lobby of the cinema.
But what you're saying as well was their behaviour in the KFC across the road was disgraceful as well.
Yeah, it's as though they were in a pub and they were at a party. They were screaming, roaring and shouting. It's like something you wouldn't see in KFC. It's though they were at a pub party and they were.
So just behaving in an inappropriate way in the place that they were, basically.
Yeah, and basically, no one where the customers were. Some customers were intimidated. No one was going down where they were sitting.
All right. Sorry, Darren, are you going to ask for a refund or what are you going to do?
No, because at the end, the cinema. It wasn't really their fault. They did try. And to be honest, I got to watch the end of the film. My mum might probably look for a refund tomorrow, but no. I mean, the kids got to watch the film. As I said, they were over the far side of us. The kids were. So as I said, they thought it was funny. You know, being kids, they obviously thought it was funny because there's stuff getting thrown around and people getting sick and drinking because they don't normally see that. So to them, it was funny. But I think twice. Honest to God, if I saw traveller women, and I don't care if I'm stereotyping, but if I saw traveller women or fellas in the cinema, you know what? It's not worth the hassle.
You just wouldn't be arsed.
No, I couldn't be arsed. I wouldn't take the chance because, as I said, it's not cheap to go to cinema these days, you know. And you're looking just to go out and relax and enjoy your night. And why should they get away with doing that on a night out? Why should they get away with doing whatever they feel like? Because that's exactly what he done. Whatever he wanted. Now, I couldn't do that. If I'd had 29 of my mates in KFC, the guards would have been called because that would be an illegal gang. You know, there's a gang of lads up, there's a gang of this, there's a gang of that. But because it's travellers, the guards, and I don't blame the guards being fed up with them. I really don't, because they must have a pain in their arse being called to places. And that chap that was on earlier saying, oh, you haven't heard that in ages. Well, maybe people don't ring your show every week to tell you every time they have trouble with a traveller.
No, they don't. Yeah. But again, the point that you made, and we'll make it again, is we would have had this conversation if you were ringing about a group of settled women carrying on like that. Yeah, but sadly, what I'm hearing from a lot of people is that, generally speaking, settled women in a group like that don't carry on like that.
No. But the thing that got me was, you hear the girl herself. It was her 29th birthday.
Yes.
29. She wasn't 15, 16 running amok. She's 29, and the women that were with her were older. I tell you, the earliest she was probably the youngest, was 29. They were going 30 into the 30s, into the early 40s. And I just thought, well, at least we know now, it's a tradition with them. On someone's birthday, you throw flower over them for luck.
Yeah, but you could do it in your own house. It doesn't have to be done in a cinema where, yeah, all right.
Adrian, it was everywhere. It was all over the carpet. It was all over. Just the guards are going to have to be there. They'll be there probably hours after it's closed, still cleaning up. You know, I just thought it was unfair on everybody. But that's
all right.
It wasn't because they were travellers. It was because of the behaviour. But if they want to go along and do that, fine. But they should be punished like the rest of us. And I would bar them. If I saw the same girls in that cinema next week and I was the manager, I'd say, hey, not a chance, girls. You're barred. You're not barred because you're a traveller. You're barred because you vandalised this cinema last week. We don't want your custom.
Simple as that. All right, let me go to Paul. You're on FM104. How are you, Paul?
Good evening. How are you?
Now, Paul, what did you want to say on this?
Well, I just had to tuning in there as a deal. I clock off at 12 o'clock from work, so I just tuned in at about 10 minutes ago to the conversation, and I picked up on it very quick because same thing happened to me about 6 weeks ago. Wasn't a night out, it was a Sunday afternoon show. We go to a shopping centre on the south side of the city. I won't mention the one, but there's a big cinema in there as well. And what we usually do is have a look around this shopping centre, go for something to eat, and end up going to see a matinee with the family, you know.
Yeah.
What I always go for is the best seats of the house, which is centre aisle, and I always go for the VIP seats. You pay extra for that, but it's a nice you get to see the screen from a right, perfect point of view. Well, when I paid extra, which is nearly €50 for a family ticket to this, it's only a matinee, not an evening show, as I say. So it's dear enough, and then there's another €30 for the popcorn and the drinks that comes with it outside, as the kids always insist on getting. So you don't mind paying that, but you're talking about nearly €80, €70, €80 just for a family day out to the pictures. Never mind going to the shopping centre or anything else with it. But apart from that, we went in and there was a couple of travellers are all over the shopping centre itself, as they always are. Went into the cinema and seen a few coming in, and you spot them a mile away. They make themselves known, to be honest with you. They don't make themselves discreet. This wasn't an evening time. These were teenage ones, teenagers. And they make themselves heard. They don't care what people think or their opinion of other people. They just like to let themselves be heard. So we knew there was a few in there. I got to the seats that I paid for, the VIP seats. Most of them were empty. There was a guy sitting in one of the seats that we paid. There was four of us, and there was a guy sitting in the first or second seat in the row that we paid for. I asked him, I said, can I see a ticket? He just got up, moved away, and just sat down about half a row down, still sitting in the VIP seat. So obviously he hadn't got a VIP ticket, but that's not my job. That's the usher sort that out. But there was a gang of guards on the other side of the cinema. Now, the whole film, we had to put up with hooting, shouting, screaming, talking, mobile phones going off, howling. Now, I mean howling amongst them. A lot of them. There's a few guys on the other side. They're kind of bouncing off each other, peacocking, whatever they call it, to the teenage boys, the teenage girls amongst them. But it ruined my whole experience. There was a guy sitting behind me as well with his kids. He was saying to himself, for fuck's sake, never shut the bleeding hell up. But he said it, I heard him, but they didn't hear him. He's afraid to say it out loud, you know, kind of ruined the experience, to be honest, because I was enjoying the film. I paid dear enough for it. Ruined my experience, and I was actually livid leaving. Because these young ones are going up and down to the Jacks every so often, or wherever they were going. But they highlighted that they were there. Do you know what I mean? If you or I...
They just made a nuisance of themselves.
Made a nuisance that they're loud and obnoxious, and they knew who they were, and they were travellers, and I'm being straight about it. I'm in my mid-40s, and any traveller I've come across was undesirable. Now, I've never met a good one or a decent one, but anyone that I've ever met or seen in my travels were of an unsavoury type. That's all I can say.
All right, but again, the point I would make, Paul, and I said this earlier on, is I've been in cinemas where I've wanted to, or you have left or wanted to leave because of the behaviour of just a group of teenagers. They didn't, not travellers, just ordinary, everyday teenagers. And it can be a wreck the head, it really can. Mary, you're on FM104. How are you, Mary?
How are you doing? Yeah, I'm just ringing up to say that I think it's despicable the way they're actually talking. Yeah, okay, yeah, you might have had a few delinquents going in and out of the cinema, and you might have had a few mishaps or whatever, but I'm a settled person, and I can tell you now that we're just every much as bad as they are.
No, yeah, I actually agree with. Well, I do agree with that.
I've seen a few girls going in and out of the cinema from Dalkey, from Killiney, from big mansions, from the people that aren't meant to be delinquents, and they're going around and they're spitting into people's faces, knocking people.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, you have delinquents from everywhere. Did you not?
Okay, so you're
the corner from where he lives.
Your point is, now I did say this, that we would have brought this up regardless if somebody felt that aggrieved over something that went on in the cinema. It just so happens in this case that it was a group of travellers.
It just happened to be a group of travellers, but he didn't turn around and he didn't say over his teenage years about the amount of delinquents he met over and all the trouble that he's caused. Don't say that he never stepped out of bounds when he was younger and that he never did.
But here's the thing. Yeah, but here's the thing, Mary. This wasn't a group of teenagers. This was a gang of women out celebrating a 29th birthday. 29.
People just act the asses, and I've had some people that are their age, even older. So I've even had a woman there the other day lying outside the chipper with her knickers down around her ankles. She wasn't a traveller.
Well, Darren, what would you say to that?
Okay, yeah, their bad experiences came across that happened to be travellers at the time they were doing it.
Darren, what would you say to that? That you're as likely to see this sort of behaviour, this sort of bad behaviour with settled people?
Yeah, well, you could probably say it with settled people, but you wouldn't see it at that age.
At that age, are you serious? The woman that was down around the chipper with her ankle, the knickers around her ankles, was in her 40s.
You're talking about one woman who probably has a drink.
One woman. Okay, hold on, wait there for a second. If you add them all together, how many did you get?
Yeah, calm yourself down. I'm talking about women from the late 20s, early 30s to the 40s going around like 12-year-olds running amok. And yeah, you meet delinquents everywhere, and you meet mad people everywhere. I'm telling you where I met them tonight. I met them in a cinema. These probably have kids, 17, 18, 19 years old, who wouldn't behave like they behave tonight. Now, if you want to go out and be a mad bleeding woman, don't go and vandalise someplace. If you want to go do it, have it in your caravan park. Have your party there if you're going to start throwing stuff and vandalising.
Have it in your caravan park? How dare you speak like that? How dare you speak like that? Excuse me for a second. I've seen some asses, and especially I bet you've been an asshole in your lifetime. I bet you've crossed somebody's path, and you've turned around and you've done somebody injustice. So don't stand there and try to act and walk down the all high almighty road, because there's no way in hell that you've any right. You've no saint hanging, or you've no halo hanging over your head.
It is. I just polished it, and I'm telling you, that's not what we're
You just polished it. I think your mother just polished it, love, because I think you're just looking. I think you've been hiding all under a curtain, because there's no way in hell that you've been walked down the road and actually never done anybody any wrong.
Do you know what? I'm a decent person. I don't go out and do anybody any harm.
Yeah, but hey, excuse me, there is decent people out there in Travellers. There is decent people out there in Travellers.
There wasn't. I didn't say there wasn't.
Yeah, but you're turning around, you're saying there, oh yeah, go back to your caravan park. How about you go back to your house and not go out and hire out a pub, or hire out a hotel, or hire out something?
Excuse me, that's not what I said. I said if you want to
You just said to me there, you just said there a second ago, go back to your caravan park and let them go back to the caravan park and have a party there.
What I said. Calm
Did you not say that?
Listen to what I said.
Did you not say that? Because I'm sure that Adrian can replay what you just said.
I'm sure I could if I wanted to. But, Mary, you think it's wrong to be highlighting that this was a group of travellers. Do you not accept?
No, not to the fact that it's just a group of travellers. It's the way that he is escalating the conversation to the fact that it is only travellers. This is only being about travellers.
But I have to be honest with you, Mary. I have to be honest with you. Hang on, Mary. I have to be honest with you. An awful lot of people have been on to us and have texted us and emailed us and whatever to say that they have or they would, if they walked into a cinema and there was a large group of travellers in that cinema, they'd turn on their heels and walk back out again. That's how people feel.
You know, seriously, do you know what the way they've been reared up? They've been reared up with a silver spoon bent backwards, because I can tell you now there's nobody a saint in this world.
Okay, well, stay there for 1 second. Keith.
Yeah.
What do you make of what Mary is saying here, that this is disgraceful that people are highlighting that this was a group of travellers?
Well, firstly, Adrian, that's what the topic is about. It was actually a group of traveller women. That's firstly what I'd like to say. I mean, it wasn't a group of women like or guys, a group of girls or guys like you and me. It was a group of traveller people tonight, not a group of settled people. You know what I mean? Secondly, I agree with that chap to 100% that every time a traveller person is confronted with something or whatever, they play the traveller card. I've seen it happen a dozen times. They play the card, and discrimination is shouted about the place, and lawyers, solicitors, the whole lot, and people are afraid to say anything to them, and businesses are intimidated by them because of that. And I think that chap will agree with me as well, that I'm right in what I'm saying there.
He might agree with you because he said exactly what you just said.
No.
You're just repeating what he's just after saying.
I'm not repeating.
Why do you have to conform to the norm of society and stand there and speak about people the way, okay, yeah, this radio show somebody was about people being in the cinema that happened to be travellers, but why can't somebody get up and turn around and say, yeah, I did it too? Why were you a saint?
Well, I actually never done it.
You've never once crossed somebody's path, and you've never once crossed somebody's path, and nobody's never once turned around and said.
Well, do me a favour, both of you. Let me. I finally got her back on the phone. Even though Sarah, we were trying to get you for ages there.
Yeah, just someone came up and I couldn't answer the phone.
All right, now I'm going to leave the final word to you on this, Sarah. What do you want to say about? You've been listening. I assume you've been listening to what people have been saying. Yeah. I leave the final word to you. What do you want to say on this?
I have nothing to say. I went out and I enjoyed myself and I had a few drinks. So and I went to that cinema. I was tried the flower, but I just have to say something. The flower was not true inside the cinema, it's true outside it. Okay, now I also had a fella on who said he saw you in KFC carrying on disgracefully. No, we weren't in KFC. You weren't in KFC? No, we were not in KFC. I can honestly put my hand up to that. We were not in KFC. And Darren is basically saying that, well, you're denying that the flower was thrown around inside the cinema. Is that right, Sarah? Can you repeat that again, please? You're denying that the flower was thrown around inside the cinema. Yeah, the flower was not thrown inside the cinema, thrown outside it. And then I just want to say something to that fella. Is it John or something? Go back to the caravan parks. What makes things we live in caravans?
I tell you, if you want to vandalise somewhere, go back to where you live. Don't be vandalising other people.
Go back to your caravan parks.
Yeah, don't be vandalising other people.
The majority of travellers live in houses, not caravan parks.
Well, go back and vandalise your own home then.
Can I ask you, Sarah, do you think flinging flour around, whether it be inside the cinema or out in the foyer or whatever, it might be a tradition, but is it appropriate to be doing it in public places?
As I said, hate sin was true in the cinema. It's our tradition to throw flour over somebody when it's their birthday because they grow up to be big and tall.
Well, it wasn't my birthday and it was thrown over all the people around where we were, so what's that?
Come on, it was my birthday. We're out for a bit of laugh, we're out for a bit of sport. Right, you were in the wrong place at the wrong time.
I'll tell you what, tell the truth. You threw it in the cinema. Tell the truth.
I didn't. I was the one that threw the flowers on me outside, not inside.
No, then where's the flower?
Can I just say something there for a minute, please? You said that you paid for your kids. What was your kids going to watch an adult film at 9:15 night for?
15, my young fella. He's 15. He's still me kid.
You said he was kid.
Yeah, he is me kid.
15 years of age. He was married at himself.
Hold on. He's 15. He's a kid. He's my kid. What do you want me to call him? A baby?
Oh, he's far from a baby if he's 15 years of age.
He's 15. He's my kid.
Okay, Sarah, I have to wrap this up, but do you believe that this group of women that you were with tonight celebrating your birthday were behaving perfectly normally and acceptably?
I'm not saying we were perfect. We're not saying we were normal. We went out, we had a bit of laugh, we had a fun. Now he was saying he's with his kid, and a few minutes ago he's with his girlfriend.
No, forget about the kid. I'm asking you, do you believe that you were behaving in an acceptable manner?
No, what I'm trying to explain to say to you, Adrian, is, yeah, we were. We sat down, we watched the film. The last 10 minutes, as he says, the flowers thrown over me outside. How the hell did it get...
Sorry, hang on. The flower was thrown in the last 10 minutes of the film. What, you got up and left, did you?
No. Outside, the last few minutes, the flower was thrown on me outside. I don't know how the hell it got inside the cinema.
You don't know how it got inside the cinema? But
and then he says somebody got sick in his girlfriend. He was in the middle row. We were sitting.
Did you leave before the end of the movie, Sarah?
Yeah, we did. We ended the fucking last 5 minutes of it. We never got to the end of the film.
It's a lie.
It's not a lie. It was a lie. Then why am I getting on the phone for?
Come here. You just said for the last 10 minutes, that's when the flower was thrown over you in the cinema. Then at 20
No, I didn't say in the cinema. I said outside the cinema.
Okay, again, Sarah, I'm going to ask you, do you believe that you were behaving in an acceptable manner in a public place this evening?
No, I don't. But like everything else, I went out and Jack and Bertie had a laugh. If you can't have a laugh at this time,
other people's expense.
What the hell is the point of going anywhere?
Well, you shouldn't go anywhere.
Yeah, no, maybe not the cinema. Why didn't you go to the pub instead of the cinema, Sarah?
You and your missus now, you're probably all snapped up now. Oh, look at me, I ain't going to the cinema. We paid the same money.
No, Sarah, what I'm saying to you is, yes, we're all entitled to go out and have a laugh and have a joke and whatever. Fine, enjoy yourself. But why go to the cinema? Go somewhere else. Go to the pub. Do you know what I'm saying?
Sorry?
Well, what I'm saying to you is, if you want to have a good laugh and a good night, fine, enjoy yourself, but go to the pub, not the cinema.
But we didn't go to the pub. We came in. We were in the. Sorry about that. We were in the pub. We had a few drinks. We left the pub and we went to the cinema to watch our films. We paid our ticket like everyone else.
You should have watched it then.
Should have watched. Can you repeat that again, please? Because you're stuttering there.
You should have watched it rather than go around like 2-year-olds throwing flour at people. Getting sick all over the place, drinking in a place you're not meant to be.
Nobody got sick. I want to make that clear now. Nobody got sick. Nobody got sick.
You did say, you already admitted...
We're travellers, you cast up all them travellers.
Sarah, you already admitted that somebody got sick. You already admitted that.
Yeah, I am saying there was some mistake. Well, what big thing with the traveller? Yeah, we were messing, we had a laugh in the cinema.
You keep contradicting yourself, love. You don't even know what you're saying. You're contradicting yourself every time you say something.
Did one of the women with you in the cinema tonight get sick, Sarah?
No, I can actually say that. No, nobody got sick in that cinema.
Nobody did. That's all made up as well. Sarah, you want to get your story straight. The fact of the matter is, we've had loads of people onto us, not just Darren, loads of people who were in that one cinema in Dublin tonight, and we're able to identify. We're able to identify the exact cinema that Darren was in just by the story that Darren told. So a number of people witnessed your carry on. Sorry?
Can you put Darren back on the phone? Where did this KFC thing come in?
That was a caller who was on a couple of minutes ago.
It didn't come from me.
It wasn't from him. It was from somebody else.
Right, we were supposed to mess with KFC.
Yes.
We weren't in KFC.
You weren't in KFC, fair enough.
No, we weren't in
We're all lying, Adrian. We're all telling lies.
All right, but look, I'm gonna have to wrap this up. The bottom line is, Sarah, fine, it might be a traveller tradition to throw flour over somebody whose birthday it is. Can you not do it somewhere else? Do it at home before you even leave, rather than out in a public place. Sorry?
There won't be no more flowers thrown for a while anyways, till next week.
Well, try and keep it at home, will you?
Yeah, we will indeed, Adrian.
Okay, thanks very much indeed. Darren, thanks for bringing that to our attention tonight.
No bother.
It's been interesting. Thanks very much indeed.
Thanks a lot.
All right, good luck. Bye-bye.